y'all, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a quick custom on this 1970 Pontiac Firebird. This custom is going to be pretty simple, just a wheel swap, but I'm going to show you guys how to start off doing these with pretty much the bare minimum. You'll obviously need to start out with a Hot Wheels car. For example, I'm using this Firebird, and the wheels I'm going to use are coming from the Hot Wheels brand of wheels, which I really prefer. I think these Real Rider wheels have a great number of details, and for this swap we're doing these Real Riders GTs. I think they kind of look like Pontiac's snowflake wheels. And these are just some leftover things. I was thinking about putting these on a Mustang, but I think this Firebird works out pretty good in the end. You'll have to let me know. Anyways, things we're going to need for this: small flathead screwdriver, some super glue. I like this gel-based stuff. We'll need some nail polish remover. This one is scented, which is pretty nice. You'll need a little plastic tray or something so you don't make a mess, and some Q-tips. You'll need a drill for this. I don't know if there's any good way of getting around it. I like using a drill to pop out my rivets. And then you'll need some drill bits. I might take a little bit of a clumsy approach to it, but this seems to be what works for me. It's got all different sizes. And finally, this 3-in-1 glue. So pour yourself some of that nail polish remover and take a look at the package. Note that the plastic is sort of held on by a glue. I used to use a razor blade to tear these open, but man, this way works just so much better. Basically, you dab on some of the nail polish remover on the back of the package where that glue sits, and it sort of lifts the package, slowly once you start applying the nail polish remover. It has to soak through the cardboard, but this is just the easiest way of doing that I've ever found. With a few passes, boom, that package is ready to peel off. And don't worry, once that cardboard dries out, it'll look like you were never there. This turned out pretty good for me. It took a little bit of the script off, but just wait, we'll fix that up real good when we go and repackage this, which again, I like doing after customizing. I don't like having them loose. I think they look better in the package for display, and maybe someone wants it, I don't know. So anyways, here's the car. This was one of the Hot Wheels Legends Tour winners. The builder's name was Riley Stair. In real life, this thing's got like 1,000 horsepower. It's a 10,000 RPM LS-based V8. It's got crazy 8-into-1 headers. It sounds fantastic. You can check it out on Motor Trend. I've seen it on Hoonigan's channel. It's everywhere. But essentially, to start taking this apart, I like using smaller drill bits and then working my way up from there. Take out your tray, slap it on there, collect all the filings. For this first run, we're using a 3/32 bit, and going from there, seeing what we can get into. You can see the holes are reamed out just a bit more. Next, we're going to use an 1/8" bit. I swear some of these work better than others. Some rivets seem to pop out easier. This one kind of gave me some hell. Then we're going to use a 5/32 bit. Still not there just yet. Close. Going to use a 3/8 bit. I really thought this was going to do the trick, but I guess not. I had to move up one more size. And then finally, we're finishing it off with a 7/32 bit, and this was pretty quick work. There you have it. Kind of damaged the black plastic around it, but hey, I'm no professional. It's going to look great once we put it back together. You see that tray? Collects all the shavings. So most Hot Wheels come apart in 4 different pieces. The bottom layer is the skateboard that sort of holds the wheels. And then from there, you've got sort of the interior that pulls out. Sometimes this has an engine attached, sometimes not. Depends on the type of model it is, really. But I'll tell you what, I hate these chrome interiors. I think they look so cheap, and they're kind of a pain to paint. Next layer is the glass that pulls out of the car. And then finally, you've got the metal shell. I don't know if there's any Hot Wheels that have more than 4 layers. Let me know in the comments if you've taken apart some Hot Wheels and seen more than 4 layers. I don't know. Maybe there's 3. I guess I can't tell you. Again, here's that skateboard. And what we're going to do for this is we're going to pull out these axles. Before you do this, check the length of your the wheels on the axles that you've got. Make sure they sort of line up. You can cut these apart, but you know, if you're just starting out, sometimes it's easier just to put in axles that are the same length, if you can do that. Wheels are very similar in size too, so this should work out pretty well. They should fit in the wheel arches, no problem. But take your small screwdriver, and these axles are sort of held in with these little tabs. Some people clip these off right away. I like to sort of just bend them back in the hopes that I can sort of reuse them when I go to glue in the other set of axles that I've got. Sometimes they break off, sometimes not. In this one, we were lucky. They all sort of bent back enough where I could just pull that axle right out. In some older Hot Wheels, the axles just kind of snap in there. I think sometimes there's one little piece of plastic that holds over it, and they snap in. So I kind of like working on those ones better. These ones sort of are a little bit wobbly, even from the factory. So there you can take a look at what I'm working with those little tabs. We want to put the new wheels and axles sort of right in there, center them as best as possible, because once we glue them, they ain't moving. You can see I just sort of threaded in where the old ones were, right in those little tabs, and it seems to hold it well enough. Some of these Real Rider wheels and tires will be different sizes. They'll be like a staggered front and rear, and the length of the axles will be a little bit different too, so pay close attention to that. Now take your super glue. I like this gel stuff. It's not as runny as the standard super glue, but anything really will do. Just make sure to note that sometimes it will distort the plastic, or rather color it. It'll lighten the plastic up quite a bit. I guess it's a reaction from the fumes, so it's probably best to use a craft glue on this, but I really wanted this to be sort of quick, and this dries pretty quickly, especially if you put it on with just a small layer. So I try to squeeze it into where those tabs are to hold that axle centrally. Seems to work out pretty good. And a little bit goes a long way here. This super glue is strong. And something I like to do is flip it over. As long as the glue doesn't touch the surface of the table, I feel like the little extra weight, the couple of grams of that plastic skateboard sort of weighs, helps it set those axles in place. And it seemed to work out fine here. So next, take that shell, pop that glass in, make sure you know which direction it's going in. Something I like to do though is I like to put a little bit of this crafting glue on the glass. I feel like it sort of helps it lock in a little bit better. Not that I'm going to be playing with these, but I do like knowing that the glass isn't going to rattle around in there. I think this glue helps. The glue kind of dries with a little bit of flexibility in there. It's not quite as rigid as the super glue. And putting these cars back together is way quicker than taking them apart, as you can see by the struggle I had with all those rivets. We're going to leave the interior and the engine alone in this, just doing a wheel swap. You can pop that back in. No glue necessary on that, in my opinion. And finally, we're going to seal the deal with that skateboard and wheels. This one, it seemed to snap back in place. You almost didn't need glue to hold it in there. But to make sure it's not coming apart, I take a little bit of this craft glue and I sort of put it in those rivet holes. This stuff can be kind of stringy, so it's kind of a pain. You'll see me wrap it around my finger just to try to keep it away from the body. Something else that works pretty good is a hot glue gun, but again, I'm just trying to keep this as simple as possible for an example, just to show you what you could do. This really didn't take me that long, maybe, I don't know, maybe an hour's worth of work to sort of take this apart, put it back together. I think it turned out pretty cool. Again, those wheels mimic sort of like the Trans Am snowflake wheels that Pontiac dudes love. I love them personally too. And finally, what I like to do is seal it back in its original container. I don't like to have these things floating around, so put a very thin layer of that crafting 3-in-1 glue on the plastic package where it originally had glue. Position the car, make sure it's facing the correct way. And then, as I said, this had a little bit of script that came off with the plastic, but I was able to line it up perfectly. Again, just a thin layer of glue will do you well. You don't want it squeezing out and then getting stuck all over the place. And just like that, it's pretty much good to go. I wouldn't go ripping on it, but take a look. I think the script lined up pretty good and altogether turned out pretty good. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Was this easy to follow? Are you going to give it a shot? Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.